Hi all, welcome once again to VIP, the very first and original virtual interactive perfumery experience developed by Cameron. This episode will revolve around the rose. Again, as I did not have the time to narrate all the elements I wanted to share with you about this magnificent flower, a one-of-a-kind ingredient. So let's explore together today the different origins of roses used in perfumery and what are the differences between them. As you know, roses belong to the family Rosaceae, but this family comprises over 100 species. Nevertheless, there are two main species, Rosa Damascena and Rosa centifolia, that are those pinkish little roses which are used to extract the rose essential oil we use in fragrances. So I will start speaking about the most iconic and coveted rose used in perfumery. It is Rose de Mai from Grasse, France. And as the name suggests, it is called Rose de Mai because the rose season ranges between May and June. So this is the rose most of the luxury brands use in their creations, Chanel, Dior. So what they do is they finance the farmers in Grasse and buy the wholeness of their crops, and this enables them to ensure on the one side a very unique essential oil, a very precious smell in their fragrances, and on the other side they ensure the supply of this raw material. Rose de Mai belongs to the centifolia family, and the centifolia family is a bit sweeter and more long-lasting than the Damascena type roses. So we find in Rose de Mai the characteristic floral rose, green, fruity, a little bit jammy characteristic note, but it has a very interesting honey nuance that makes it very different from the Damascena type rose. It also provides an additional petal naturalness to the fragrance. I don't know how to explain that, but the effect is very transparent, very natural, and really, really beautiful. We have then the Damascena Rose types, which comprise a wider scope of origins. Its oil's facets are diverse and versatile. When I smell Damascena Rose, I smell, of course, the floral facet, the fresh rosy facet, a green facet, a slightly artichoke-like facet, a jammy, fruity element, and then something a bit spicy and more animalic compared to the centifolia rose we were discussing before. So its absolutes are floral, rosy, fruity, liquorous, animalic, slightly honey-like, but not as honey-like as the centifolia roses. The Damascena absolutes present a dirtier, more tobacco-like, as it is the case of the Moroccan quality, or a more spicy note, as it is the case of the Turkish rose absolutes. They are interesting, they are all of them beautiful and nice to use in fragrances, so it depends on the effect you want to convey and on the neatness or the femininity or masculinity you want to enhance. So Turkey is the main producer for rose oil in the world, over Bulgaria. Isparta, a region placed in the northern part of Antalya, is where most rose oil factories are placed. When distilling the rose, it is very important that the flowers have been recently collected. The rose fields in Isparta, in Turkey, are a bit farther from the factories than the rose fields in Bulgaria, which are placed next to the factories. This makes that the fermentation process of the Turkish roses starts before the distillation gets started. So this will have an impact in the scent of the Turkish rose oil versus the Bulgarian rose oil. Therefore, we observe a more jammy, fruity, fermented note in the Turkish rose oil, while in the Bulgarian rose oil, the note is a bit greener, vegetable artichoke and fresher, so reflecting more the freshness of the petals. We find them, the Iranian rose oil, also within the Damascena species. It is sensual and connecting very intimately with the feel of nudity and bare skin. It's beautiful, amazing. Rose oil and rose water have been part of the Persian civilization since the Sassanid Empire. It connects with their lifestyle very deeply. I have smelled personally 2 types of Iranian rose oil, and I use both of them in my fragrances. One is the first distillation of the rose oil, and the other one is the second distillation or the purified process of the first distillation. So when comparing both of them, I would say the first distillation of Iranian rose oil is extremely fresh and green. It conveys this feel of being in the middle of a rose garden, which is very floral but very green and not as sensual as when you smell the rose directly. Then the second distillation of the Iranian rose oil is more sensual. It is fruitier, it connects more with the skin effect. It's really a more intense and a more floral scent. As I said, I like to use both of them. The second distillation of the Iranian rose oil as well as the Indian rose oil works extremely well in Oriental fragrances. To me, they are the rose oil types that blend the best with agar woods. The only problem with the Indian rose oil is its exorbitant price, which is nearly 50% higher than the Turkish or the Iranian rose. Also, I must mention the highly scarce and rare Taif rose from Saudi Arabia. It is cultivated in Taif, which is a region in the western part of Saudi Arabia. This region is at about 2,000 meters high above the sea level, and it grants a cool temperature, so it has the right conditions to cultivate the rose. It is proven that this rose was a gift from the Ottomans, so the Turks occupied Saudi for a while, and they transplanted the roses from the Balkans to Taif. So this is how all the rose culture started in Saudi Arabia. Taif rose belongs to the Damascena family as well, and I don't know, but I believe I have never smelled a pure quality of Taif rose, since the production is very, very, very little, not more than 200 kgs per season. So it is usually blended with other origins to get a bigger crop, because 200 kgs is nothing. So I cannot speak much about it. It's just about its diffusion, its freshness. It's a very special quality. So that's more or less all I wanted to share with you about the rose, the queen of all flowers. As you can see, perfumery is about observing nature, deconstructing it into pieces, and then playing with those pieces freely without limits. So it's about releasing the inner child and our creativity. I hope you found this installment interesting, and that knowing the different characteristics of each type of rose will help you master your creations and provide them with the touches and the nuances you have in mind. Stay tuned and follow our VIP channel, because more contents are following shortly. We will be posting a new installment on fragrances for air care and all the devices and techniques associated to air care. So see you soon, and take care.